Today, Kevin is going to tell us his story about the challenges he had to overcome, what it took to be understood by his doctors, and how that led to his kidney disease diagnosis and ultimately saved his life.
When I first started talking, I talked and then I shut down for a couple weeks because I really didn't want to hear anything anybody had to say. Because nobody really understood what I was dealing with, what I was feeling like. I was beginning to deal with migraine headaches. And it wasn't something that I had ever experienced before. So I ended up going to a doctor, and in that first visit, the doctor tells me that, my blood pressure is extremely high and that we've got to get my blood pressure under control. And so we tried a couple of different medications. They really just weren't having any effect for me. And after a little bit of trying these different drugs, the doctor said to me, well, none of these drugs will work if you do not change your eating habits and don't eat so much fried food and canned goods.
Actually, Kevin's diet hadn't been an area of focus or concern, and he'd always prioritized his health and fitness.
I don't eat that way, so that's not my concern. And he said, yeah, but you're gonna have to stop doing that. It upset me, and it let me know that this person really wasn't someone I really wanted to work with, because I felt that, okay, he's decided that this is my issue based on nothing.
Kevin continued to seek a second doctor's opinion, and after the same preliminary round of medications, the second doctor said to Kevin,
an aside under his breath, he said, even if it's been a long time ago, if you've used cocaine, it can affect the way these drugs react.
Kevin continued his search, and then the third doctor says to him,
well, even if it was a long time ago, if you're using steroids and HGH, that's going to nullify the effect of these drugs. At that point, there was just a certain amount of exasperation, and probably if I had never had another headache, I might have just, chalked it up and walked away. But I was continuing to have the migraines, which affected my ability to work.
Not being understood, ready to give up, it can be a tough place to be. But Kevin wasn't done and knew he needed to find a solution.
One day, I'm at work, and the migraine I have is so bad that I literally have my head down on my desk, and I, feeling like I can't take it. And so I go to this women's clinic in my area. We had the same experience where she was giving me blood pressure medications and they weren't working.
Kevin is referred to a nephrologist to evaluate the condition of his kidneys and how that might be impacting his health.
We had a great dialogue, and she said, it sounds like you have FSGS, and we're going to monitor you. And I didn't even know what FSGS was at the time. So what FSGS is, this is a disease. What it does is it damages the cell walls in your kidney.
Kevin is diagnosed with FSGS at age 33 and begins his treatment journey.
You need to have a doctor that listens to you. What she said to me that is very different is she said, based off of what I know about you, it doesn't make sense that this is this hard. That's the sentence that I want them to hear more than anything else, which is based on what I know about you, not based off of what the charts say or what's typical for African American men or anything like this, based on what I know about you.
Kevin's story is one that many can relate to.
Nobody really understood what I was dealing with, what I was feeling like.
Not being understood could have led to Kevin giving up, subsequently being past due on the care he needed. But instead, Kevin pressed on.
I knew what I needed to know. I knew what was important to me. You either take care of yourself or nobody else does.
Kevin's experience highlights the importance of the doctor-patient relationship.
You need to have a doctor that listens to you and hears you, and you need to be comfortable saying anything and everything you want to.
It might take some time, but it's very important to find a doctor that is right for you.
The biggest piece of advice that I would share with individuals is be proactive and know that you have a right to find a doctor that you communicate well with. So I didn't have a problem with saying to a doctor, you're not the person for me. I'm sure you obviously you have a degree, you have all your training, but this isn't right. And you need to be comfortable saying anything and everything you want to, or you feel you have to that doctor. And until you find that, as much as you can afford to, keep looking for the doctor that provides that.
Kevin strongly believes about self-advocacy when it comes to your health, and his journey has renewed his commitment to advocate for others.
So my mother had quite a few health issues when she was alive, and she was very good about advocating for herself. When my mom went to the doctor, she had her notes, she had her envelope with everything in it, and my mom had a lot of health issues, so she would see multiple doctors, and she was very good about asking questions, saying what she needed, and saying what was important to her. And then also I was in a position where I felt like to advance in my career and do the things that I wanted to do, I couldn't afford to not be at my best. I'm competing against other people who have some other advantages that I didn't necessarily have. I'm not from a family with a lot of money. Somehow I managed to go to college and not make friends with anybody who had a lot of money. So I'm in a competitive situation every single day, and I have to be at my best. So I just didn't have a choice, really, the way I saw it. I had to get the help that I needed, and I had to find people who were going to take care of me. When it comes to advocating and helping, it's simple. I mean, if you considered yourself a strong, physically fit person, if you saw somebody struggling with a huge box, you would just instinctively go help that person because that's what you do. This is what I do. For whatever reason, because of whatever was poured into me, I am comfortable advocating for people, volunteering and trying to add value to your community is just something that has just kind of been ingrained in me. So this was just the next community that I felt that I needed to assist, because I didn't really see many African American men involved in advocating for us. One of the issues is, how do we get people of color to participate in clinical trials? Somebody needs to advocate, because we all know the reasons not to. We all know the reasons that a lot of us are cautious about doing it, but somebody has to stand up and say, hey, we have to be a part of this. We have to be involved. Like I said, advocating is what I do. Standing up for people is what I do. And to do anything less than that, I wouldn't be living up to who I say I am. You do what you can with the gifts you have.